taxes is the exclusive domain of central government and certain taxes is the exclusive domain of state government. There is also concurrent list. But there is no uniformity on the various concepts between the state government, central government, and even within the central government. This I can narrate you with the recent incidents. Like during the first week of October, there were a series of holidays. And as a result of which, Chamber has represented the due date of payment of service tax and TDS can be extended by a few days. The Finance Ministry has two wings. One is CBSE, other is CBDT. CBDT extended the due date of payment of TDS, whereas CBSE said that since there is online payment regime, which is being implemented on 1st of October, there is no need of extension of this date. Thereafter, we again represented that since the taxes, beyond holidays, the taxes have not been paid on time, or there have been delay, or even though we have paid, but the banking system itself was not functioning. So, due date of payment of filing of returns of TDS as well as service tax may be extended. Because as such, this doesn't have any impact on the revenue. It's merely a procedural section. Here, again, these two wings took a different views. Here, CBDT said that there is no need to extend the date, whereas CBSE extended the date of services return, though at very last, very flag end. But at that point of time, they give the reason that there is been national calamities. But those national calamities would also affect the direct tax also. The tax authority administrators are taking a divergent positions regularly. They have wide power to recharacterize the transactions, though with the bona fide arrangements. They disregard the legal entities and binding agreements. Business environment is highly competitive and challenging. Gone are the days where taxpayers are looking for altogether avoiding payment of taxes. Business now look at the scenario wherein the aggregate incidence of tax is minimized. Business look upon the professional for the holistic approach covering the various tax and regulatory aspects pertaining to the specific transactions. Based on industry knowledge, professionals are expected to understand the client's unique business issues, quickly respond to the clear and practical tax advice covering multidimensional aspects. Professionals are also expected to understand emerging mega trends in the tax controversy and health business. In developing the operations in a way that minimizes the tax incidence. You all will appreciate indirect tax can impact business in more way than often it is realized. Considering the increasing client's expectation for the multinodal and borderless services, Indirect Tax Committee, International Tax Committee of the Chamber has considered this program. I appreciate the efforts put in by CE A.R. Krishnan for developing the concept, preparing the case studies and coordinating with each of the panel members. I believe you will all thoroughly enjoy next 3 hours of the panel discussion. With these few words, I hand over the proceedings to the chairman of the Indirect Tax Committee, Sri Pranav Kapadi. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Respected President of the Chamber of Tax Consultants, C.A. Paras Savla, Honorary Treasurer Hitesh Bhai, other office bearers from the Chamber of Tax Consultants, moderator for this panel discussion, seminar and advisor of the Indirect Tax Committee, Sri A.R. Krishnan ji, panel members on the dais, Hitesh Bhai, Parin Bhai, Vishal Gada and Mr. N.C. Hegde, seniors in profession and my dear friends. First of all, let me wish you all a very happy New Year, Samvat 2071. Let's begin it with a fresh look and a 360-degree overview of the indirect taxes and direct tax implication on multidimensional taxes. With the increase in volumes in global trade and services, the structuring of business transactions and the applicability of the various tax laws the businessmen require comprehensive solutions and advice on the tax implications on such transactions and the direct taxes as well as indirect taxes. Advice for one company in a group may create difficulties for another group company involved in the same transaction. Solution is required for the business group as a whole, and hence a 360-degree view of the transaction is required for the multi-dimensional tax issues. Various seminars are being held on the topics under direct taxes for domestic as well as international tax, and on indirect taxes mainly on VAT and service tax. But this is a unique seminar which has been organized with the initiative of our President Paras Bhai and the efforts and the direction given by our advisor Mr. A.R. Krishnan. It has been organized jointly with the International Tax Committee. And the objective of this program is to give a holistic view of the transactions and its tax implications, and to equip the professionals for advising their clients and providing comprehensive solutions to such multidimensional issues. We have panelists on direct taxes and indirect taxes, 2 on direct taxes, 2 panelists on indirect taxes who are experts in their fields and are experienced with dealing with such multi-dimensional tax issues. The moderator for the panel discussion is none other than Mr. A.R. Krishnan, who will carry out the proceedings for the panel discussion and has very meticulously drafted the modalities for the discussion. The program schedule has also been given to you along with the case studies, and Mr. Krishnan will explain the modalities when he will start the proceedings. And I wish you all a very happy learning on the tax issues. All the best. I now request our Vice Chairman, C.A. Alok Mehta, to kindly introduce the indirect tax speakers and the moderator.
Respected President of the Chamber of Tax Consultants, Sri Paras Bhai, Chairman of IDD Committee, Sri Pranab Kapadia, Office Bearer of Chamber of Tax Consultants, seniors in profession, and friends, good morning to all of you. It gives a great pleasure to introduce today's panel member. I'll first start with Mr. A.R. Krishnan. Mr. A.R. Krishnan is a grade CWA, FCA, 22nd rank in UCA, and law graduate practicing as a chartered accountant since 1981. His present area of expertise and practice are service tax at both advisory level and litigation. He is author of publication Guide to Service Tax published by the Western India Regional Council of ICAI and the Continuing Professional Education Committee of the ICAI, New Delhi in 2002. He has contributed to study material on service tax when it was first introduced in a CA final as a subject. He has been contributing to BCA references diary in area of service tax for past 14 years. He lectures on service tax various forums, seminars, conference, and also contribute articles on service tax in various periodicals. My friends, as of now, he has spoken over 1,000 places all over the India in various forums in service tax. He has been featured as one of the top 10 indirect tax advisors in India based on a survey conducted by the International Tax Review, which is a journal published from London in April 2011. With this brief introduction, please put your hands together. Give a warm welcome to our advisor, I would request Sri Paras Savla, President of the CTC, to offer a memento on behalf of all of us to Sri A.R. Now, let us introduce our today's panel member, Sri Hitesh Veera. Mr. Hitesh is a senior partner in EY and has the indirect tax practice of the West region of EY in India. He has over 25 years of consulting and corporate work experience in Indian indirect tax. He specializes in VAT, excise, custom, service tax, and also in SCJ and STP rules and regulations as applicable in India. He has been advising global, multinational, and Indian large groups in all areas of indirect tax, such as structuring option for import, manufacturing, and sales, EPC work contract, which help the company to mitigate and optimize their indirect tax burden, including VAT and service tax compliance and closure of the assessment. With this brief introduction, again, please put your hands together. Your warm welcome. I request our chairman of IDD Committee, Sri Pranab Kapadia, to offer a memento on behalf of all of us to Sri Hitesh Veera. Let us come to our other panel member, Sri Paleen Mehta. Paleen Mehta is a partner in BSI and Company, fellow member of the ICAI, He is a he has a 15 years post-qualification experience in a consulting and advisory practices. He has dealt extensively in the area of service tax, VAT, sales tax, CST, at an industry spectrum consisting of the banking and financial services, retail, infrastructure, construction, automobile, healthcare, engineering, engineering, ports and shipping, utility, etc. He is a member of the sub-working group committee of the GST set up by the Maharashtra VAT Department. He regularly speaks at the conference and seminar conducted by the Professional Enterprise Association and as author and co-author various papers and publications on professional subject. With this presentation, again, please put your hand together. You are warm welcome and Rajibhai Luthia to please offer a memento on behalf of all of us.
I now request the Vice Chairman of Indirect Tax Committee, Mr. Ramesh Iyer. International Tax Committee, Mr. Ramesh Iyer, to introduce the direct tax committee.
Members on the dais and off the dais, and my dear friends, it gives me great pleasure in introducing two of these stalwarts in international taxation. Let me first introduce CA NC Hegde. Not in any way the priority, there's no priority in it, only because he is more experienced and a senior chartered accountant. Just taking his name first. Mr. NC Hegde is a partner, is a chartered accountant, a partner of Deloitte Haskins and Sells, having more than 25 years experience in international taxation and exchange control regulations. He was a regional council member of the WRC of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He has written a lot of articles in various magazines and also delivered lectures at various forums including WRC, CPC and BCA, etc. With this, I request all of you to please welcome him with a warm applause. And request Shri Hitesh Shah to please present a memento to him. Now to introduce Vishal Gada. You know, I know him quite closely. We have been interacting very closely, and we used to always tell Vishal, or we used to say that Vishal is like a child prodigy in international taxation. At a very young age, his knowledge on international taxation surpasses most of the seniors whom we have interacted with. See, Vishal Gada was a partner with KPMG in Gujarat. And at present, he is now joining a small boutique tax consulting firm called Dhruva Advisors LLP. He is also a qualified chartered accountant and practices and specializes in the field of domestic and international taxation, including transfer pricing, with specific emphasis on cross-border transactions and regulatory laws with respect to inbound and outbound investments. He also specializes in corporate structuring across various sectors. I would request you all to please welcome Vishal Gada with a round of applause and request Shri Ashit Shah to please present a memento to him as a mark of our respect. Over to the chair.
The outside. वो छोड़ो यार माइक चलता है क्या वो देखो
पहले आपका फोटोग्राफ है.
It is for removal of doubts. I'm already married. I make the mistake twice. Good morning to all of you. At the outset, let me clarify for the removal of doubts one or two things. One is that it was conceived by not by me. This program was conceived by the president and Hitesh here sitting. And they had said that they had a prior experience. And time has come to give transactional advice, where you give the direct taxes and indirect taxes and all gamut of taxes from one perspective. That was how it was conceived. I only took it forward. This is one. वो बात कर रहे हैं और दूसरा देखो.
See, as it is, married, my voice is very soft. I hardly shout. That's why I'm very particular with the mic. I lost my throat 25 years back. That's why I was clarifying. As regards the case studies, I must also here acknowledge that out of the 3 case studies, the second case study on brand, we are dealing with 3 case studies here. The first is on EPC contract, second is right to use brand, the case study 3 is software. As regards case study 2, right to use brands was straight away lifted by the case study discussed already by Hitesh and Vishal in some previous seminar. As regards case study 1, well, it was 50-50, something I started looking from there and did it. And the last one was a software subject close to my heart, and I thought the issue of software is very hard, only the wording is soft. I thought it's very important. Now coming to the way the whole thing will be conducted, we are effectively, I am told, about 3 hours, maybe slightly less. I think we first deal with the first case study, which is on the EPC contract. The mechanism, all of you have got this. I hope you have got this. I think the speakers also have. The case study 1, the initial views will be given. Left side are the experts on indirect tax. Right side is on the direct tax. As regards the initial views, the case study 1 will be started by the case, and then Parin can add or whatever subtract. And thereafter, after 20 minutes, this will be by Mr. Hegde, and then V, Vishal. There will be a rejoinder. We need a rejoinder because maybe the indirect tax may have to comment something based on the views of the direct taxes, because there is always direct tax and indirect tax. There is a pull-push pressure. A particular method of structuring would advance the cause of the direct tax, but it may go detriment to the indirect tax and vice versa. So that was the purpose of the rejoinder. And again, the rejoinder will be also by the direct tax team on anything else they would like to speak. From you, the question answers, there may not be answers, certainly you can question. But it will certainly be only after this entire process is completed. Please do not interrupt. It will affect the sequence of thinking, and it will also affect the speed which we can do. So I request you, for all you know, your answers are already there in the subsequent presentation of the speaker. So do not interrupt. Please remember that. That's most important. As regards my role, I am purely taught non-technical chairman, nothing else. Just need to conduct and then see that as far as possible we do finish those 3 case studies. Yes, case study 1, case study start. I would request whoever starting whichever panelist is starting doing the first thing, where there is a sequential change in the second case study, can slightly explain what is the nature of the case study. You can take it as nobody has read it, though it may have been emailed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Krishnan. I think I am fine. I am audible, right?
Yeah.
If it's okay, I am audible, then I would not take my. Is it okay?
You want this?
No, it's fine. I am fine. My first question is, and this is EPC contracts or this type of complex contract structuring is like my forte in terms of this is like my home page. But before I start, it's okay. Let me ask you questions. How many of you have actually done the number crunching? Have you done any number crunching, and while doing the number crunching, because the numbers are given and they are quite large. So have you faced any difficulty, or do you want me to start with what exactly needs to be done, or how do you want to do that?
Not right.
If I can as a chairman interrupt you in case. I think what would be is just explain the case study and forget about what numbers it is. You can look at the case study, explain the facts and your views on the tax for each perspective.
I will. But I
If
just
you
want
ask
to
too many
understand.
questions, no, there will be time over.
No, it won't. We will be able to complete that. But I just want to understand. It means nobody has read this.
The first time we are receiving this.
Sorry?
We are not receiving it by mail.
Okay, fine. So let me tell you, I mean, the reason for conceptualizing this, and this is what is going on in the Indian economy now, and you will see with the new government more and more these things, because all of you are seeing stock markets are going up. The government is going to give a lot of push to infrastructure projects, and infrastructure projects are nothing but pure EPC contracts. Whether they are power companies, whether they are fertilizer companies, whether they are engineering contracts, etc. And we have tried to do this in this particular thing, that there is one entity who wants to set up a power plant. Now there is a specific reason why a power plant has been chosen. It can be fertilizer plant, it can be any other engineering manufacturing plant. So the implications under each of these things will differ under each of the legislations which we are going to talk, as well as you will have, there will not be any particular right answer for under a particular legislation. The whole idea is like a marriage, as Mr. Krishnan said, it has to be balanced out. You cannot say that just because something is good in customs and therefore I will follow this particular structure. No, it is not going to be possible. So the whole case study, if you see, it has got a power company who wants to set up a power plant, giving a contract to an entity where you have 5 or 6 types of supply chain transactions. By supply chain, I mean procurement of goods and services. You have offshore purchases, goods being purchased from outside India, services being procured from outside India, goods being procured within India, services being procured within India, and at last you have commissioning, erectioning, commissioning, installation work also, which is like a semi-civil or a pure civil work, but some part of engineering work is also involved. So what you need to see, or what we are going to see or try to do, is what are the tax implications under different indirect tax legislations, and then how do you balance this? I mean, 20 minutes or 30 minutes is too small a time to discuss this particular subject, but at least the whole idea from me and Farin would be that we are able to give you something to think about, the manner in which these transactions have to be evaluated, and what are the important points which one must remember while evaluating this type of contracts. And this is going to happen more and more going forward for all of us. It's a big challenge for us, it's a big opportunity for all of us. So if I get into different types of taxes, I will not get into this right now. The taxes which we are talking about are customs duties. All of you are aware about this, that when you are importing something, customs duties are applicable. Then you have excise duty, which I have not covered here. I mean, it's there, an excise duty on manufacture of goods. You have service tax on provision of services, and you have VAT or CST on purchase or interstate purchase of goods. So let us try to touch base first on the customs duties. Very simply put, I have just put down the rates. The basic customs duty rates, if you think, there is a basic customs duty, there is a CVD portion which is nothing but equivalent to central excise duty, and there is a special additional customs duty. All of this comprising together, the basic percentage-wise rate is 28.85%, but because of the customs duties calculations, that it is 100 plus 1%, so 101. On 101, you calculate basic customs duty of say 10%, it becomes an X amount. On that amount, you calculate CVD. So it's a cascading. So this is how the effective rate becomes 30.40%, 14% in the normal course. It's a very basic thing. Now in this particular thing, what type of issues could arise? One of the very important things which one has to see, how do you reduce customs duties? I said in my previous slide that the customs duty rate is 30% approximately. What we need to see is there a basis or is there a way by which we can reduce the customs duty. Why do we need to reduce customs duty? Very, very important. Customs, out of this customs duty portion, the basic customs duty is always a cost. Let me tell you one more thing. In a supply chain transaction, we always try to optimize cost. That is the first motto. By optimize, I mean that you don't try to always see how can you reduce a particular tax, but what you see is whether that tax is becoming a cost, or whether that tax I am able to pass through at the next subsequent stage to the consumer. This is very, very important. Let me give you a simple example. I am sure all of you do VAT practice. You know that central sales tax of 2% is always a cost, but 12.5%, which is higher in terms of payment, VAT, is generally available as a credit when you sell those goods or do an interstate sale. So you would always prefer that 12.5% is better than 2% because you are reducing the cost of the transaction. The same logic applies in the customs duties also. Basic customs duty is always a cost, no credit is available. CVD, what I have written here, CVD is nothing but an excise duty. Credit is available against your output manufacturing liability or exports. Now here we are talking about a power plant. So first analysis what you have to do is, as far as power plant is concerned, if I raise an invoice on that company, I will charge all these taxes to that company. Whether those taxes are available as a credit against its output liability or not. As far as power plant is concerned, because it is not liable to excise duty, the generation of electricity is not liable to excise duty, you do not get credit of CVD portion. Because there is no output liability, there is no case of refund also. Government does not give you a refund of CVD. And therefore, you need to make sure that even the CVD portion gets reduced somehow. And same is the case with SAC, Special Additional Customs Duty. It is available as a credit against excise duty. But if you do not get a credit, then you have to explore what means are available for the purpose of reducing this particular thing. So what I do is, I try to explore what are the possibilities, and there are various possibilities. I have just tried to mention here only one possibility. There are various possibilities, various schemes available under foreign trade policy, under Customs Act, etc., etc. But I have picked up a very, very simple thing, a scheme called Project Import Scheme. What is a Project Import Scheme? That scheme allows me, if I have a license of a Project Import Scheme from customs authorities, from foreign trade, under foreign trade policy, then that scheme allows me to import goods at a specific rate, and that rate is a reduced rate. So if you look at the customs duty comparison, if I am entitled for a Project Import Scheme, if I have obtained Project Import Scheme before importing the goods, then my customs duty rate gets reduced from 30% to 24%. And this is easily available. We are not talking about something which is, these are all tried, tested, available things for last several years. You just need to think through this. There are certain other schemes also available. But this is a simple example that just, and it is a very simple procedure. You have to follow a procedure and you get a license under Project Import Scheme, you reduce your customs duties. So it improves your cash flows. It also helps the other entity in terms of your project costing, that you are reducing the total overall duties by 6%. This process has to start at the time of bidding itself. You just have to think, because you are now an EPC contractor, or you as a consultant are representing EPC contractors. You are not representing power company. Generally, how these contracts are structured, or not structured, but they are how given by the companies, whether it is a power company or any other companies, it's an all-inclusive contract. They never allow you to increase the taxes. They say that you give me 100 should include your customs duties, excise duties, VAT, everything, and then you give me a breakup where I am entitled to take credit. This is the normal practice, whether Reliance gives this contract, or ONGC gives this contract, or Larsen & Toubro gives this contract, or any other company gives this contract. They try to cut you on two things. One is all-inclusive contract, so I am not worried about future incremental taxes or your goof up of taxes.